Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Snitker. Coming up on today's show, is Matt Olson the real MVP? And what are some realistic expectations for Desmond Ridder? And last but not least, and for the culture, James Harden, man. God, hit the music. It's ATL Day Ones. Let's go.
This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
I want to start off by saying thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure that you leave us a 5-star review. Really appreciate that from you in advance. Today's episode of ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. ATL Day Ones is also part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Coming up in 10 minutes, what are some realistic expectations for Desmond Ridder? We'll talk about that. But first, we have to talk about this person that's sitting right next to me. And for those of you who are listening, the voice you're about to hear is John Michaels. Yes, John Michaels of 680 The Fan, longtime sideline reporter for the Atlanta Falcons. He's play-by-play man for Oglethorpe University. This man has got like 17 jobs we talked about before we got started. John, man, welcome to the show, man, and thanks for joining me today.
Man, it's always good to talk to you, Jarvis. We saw each other at camp, catching up like old times, but it's always good to come on here. You and Snitker do a great job every single day. It's obviously a great podcast and video to watch and listen to, and I'm humbled that you guys asked me to come on and grace the microphone for one day.
Absolutely, man. Like you said, we go back since like your first day ever at 92.9 The Game, man. Yeah. Like I'm telling you, man, you ingratiated yourself to the building with that pizza, man, and I'll never and forever be grateful to you for that, my friend.
See, you may not remember the first time we actually met. I was drunkenly in a line at a club, and you were running the security at the door. And you go, I listened to you at 790, and I'm like, okay, and I'm out of it, so I'm hugging you, whatever. And then the first person I meet at 92.9 The Game is you. You're there. I'm there with Grant McCauley, and we walk in and have a good time. So yeah. My way to anybody's heart was always food, so it was easy to grab some Nancy's Pizza. And you guys were like, man, we've worked here a year and hadn't anybody bought a single meal, and it's your first day. And I said, look, I want to make a good impression. So here we are like 10 or 12 years later, and everything's still good.
Absolutely, man. All love on this side. We really appreciate you for also, jumping in and stepping right in, man. I really appreciate you that. But I think one of the things that, we could appreciate is Matt Olson. The way he's been stepping in and absolutely just killing it. Now, we know what Ronald Acuna's been able to do as far as this dude is on pace to do some ridiculous things that, like, he's being mentioned in the same sentence as Barry Bonds.
Right.
But I think that when you think about Ronald Acuna, John, is Matt Olson at this point, given the type of tear that he's been on, is he ready to be put into that conversation to be National League MVP along with Ronald Acuna?
Yeah, he's got to be in the conversation now. Do I think he'll win it? Probably not. But if you look back a year ago, Aaron Judge hit 62 home runs. And as of last night, Matt Olson's on pace to have 60 home runs and about 145 runs driven in. Those are normally MVP numbers. But I love that you bring up Barry Bonds and Ronald Acuna. If Ronald's able to get to 40-40, which he's already long past the stolen base part, he's got over 50 stolen bases, and I think he's got 27 home runs right now, 26 or 27. If he gets to 40-40, go look at the history of the guys that have had 40-40. Barry Bonds was like 42 and 40. I think Alex Rodriguez might have been 41 and 40. Jose Canseco might have been right on 40-40. And I think Alfonso Soriano might have had 40 homers and like 46 stolen bases. He might go 40-80. Which is just and hit 340 at the same time. Yes. But to go back to Matt Olson, what he's done, he's almost making Braves fans forget about Freddie Freeman.
And then Matt Olson, like you said, if he ends up with those numbers, he'll break the franchise record of Andrew Jones with 51 home runs, I believe. So when you hear him being mentioned in the name and conversations like that, like he at least has to be in the conversation. I'm with you. I don't think he's gonna win it because. Like, you talking about 40-80. I think Ronnie's on pace for like 36 right now, 36 home runs right now. So, if he gets on a little hot streak, he can reach that number. And I definitely can see him getting into that 80 stolen bases number because, this dude, every time he gets on base, he's trying to go.
Oh, yeah. He got it. And it's not just second. He'll steal third. Hell, if he can steal home, he'll take that chance. The other crazy part about that, when you think about what Ronald Acuna is doing, hitting 340, but teams no longer, or they never have been able to, but they can't pitch around him. You know, you had Ozzie hitting behind him. You got Michael Harris a lot of times hitting in front of him. He just does a little bit of everything, and that's what's made his year so special. But I love what Matt Olson's doing. We brought up a name, though, Freddie Freeman. And the problem is with the MVP voting, I think, one, Matt Olson and Ronald Acuna may, I'm not going to say steal each other's votes, but I think if a voter votes Ronald 1, they're going to say, I can't have Matt number 2 when Freddie Freeman's out there hitting the way that he's hitting. Yeah. So I think it's going to be really hard pressed. I think Ronald's still going to win it, barring Matt going on a meteoric tear coming down the stretch. But I think it is a 3-man race with those 3 guys to figure out who's going to bring the NL MVP home.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Like like what Ronald's doing and nephew, and then the way he's doing it, you know how flamboyant it is. He just loves being, the attention from the crowd, and I absolutely love it as well. I call him nephew on this show. That's what we refer to him as, nephew Ronnie. But I think.
So we become uncles now. We used to be the young bucks in the end. Right. Both uncles. We can call people nephew because
exactly.
Ronald is, God, he's got to be 20-something years younger than me now. He could be my son, which again tells you how old I am. But nephew has done an unbelievable job, and I love the swag and the flair. Think about it. Remember, Jarvis, we were working together at the other station when the whole Ronald Acuna, he had his hat. Didn't he have his hat tilted sideways? And the staunch Braves fans got all upset. He needs to play the game the right way. It's like, dude, shut up. We got a star here.
Please shut up and please stop talking about our nephew, because we'll put hands on you if you keep on talking about our guy.
Yeah, another he's got a gold chain on. Who cares? Hey, whatever. Have 10 gold chains on. Who cares?
Exactly, man. Rock that joint, man. Get some gold teeth if all I care. You from Miami. For the old y'all don't know, John Michaels is from Miami, so he's very used to gold chains and gold teeth.
I will not confirm nor deny. Okay, I'll confirm. I had a grill. I've had multiple grills.
Of course you did. Of course you did.
One of my first grills.
That's almost like saying I got a haircut.
It's almost like saying I went to 112 and I lived in Atlanta.
Exactly.
Those things go hand in hand. I got a grill from the underground years ago. And how about my grill got stolen in Cancun? Because there was one, obviously, you could take in and out. And I didn't want to go to lunch and eat it. And I set it in one of the drawers. I didn't put it in the safe because I didn't think anybody would take it. Sure enough, a few hours later, I come back, my grill's gone. So I think one of the housekeepers in Mexico, realized I had some gold there and they were going to go melt it down and make some money. So that was one of my first grills and it disappeared. I don't have it currently.
Yes. Well, a guy who on the Braves team, that's nephew's homeboy, he doesn't have a gold grill. Ozzie Albies, man, he's going on a 10-day IL, and in a corresponding move, they have brought up Vaughn Grissom. And to be honest with you, I don't really care for him to come up because Nicky Lopez has been absolutely killing it, man. I feel like I've already deemed him, John, the one of those moves that Alex Anthopoulos makes, like one of those trade deadline moves. Like, nobody's paying attention to this dude. Oh yeah, it's just a little dummy move. And then next thing you know, this dude gets 8 hits and 7 RBIs in 2 starts.
Yeah, it's crazy to see what he's done. Remember, they had traded for Taylor Hearn for cash, and then Taylor Hearn came in one appearance and just got absolutely awful. They were like, all right, we're going to send this guy out. And somehow they convinced Kansas City to send Nicky Lopez over. I will disagree a little bit. I like Vaughn Grissom coming up. He's hitting over 350 at AAA Gwinnett.
Yeah, he's killing down there. Yep.
He's apparently cut down a lot on his errors. And remember, Jarvis, last year, he did play second base for 45, 50 games when Ozzie was hurt. So I think you bring him up with insurance policy and you say, you know what? Maybe if Marcel's having a bad day, you can DH him. Maybe if Nicky cools off, which he's invariably he's going to do that, you put him at second. Or maybe if Orlando Arcia needs a day off, you put him at short. So I think it's a 10-day audition to see if Vaughn Grissom becomes a guy that sticks longer in the lineup.
Yeah, I like what you're saying when you're talking about, giving guys days off, because at the end of the day, if guys are playing, it's a lot of guys playing every day, man. I know Ronald Acuna, nephew, he said he's playing every day, and I think the Braves are probably going to acquiesce to that. Austin Riley, Matt Olson, all those guys been playing every day. So I think I like the idea of having somebody that can kind of come in and say, you know what, here's the day off, take the day off and kind of, hey, and let the youngster get a little run.
Now, the only thing, and we've had this discussion on the locker room on 680 The Fan about, do you start giving guys days off? Matt Olson, I believe, has the longest active streak in baseball as far as games played. I know when the guy, and God, I can't remember his name, he ended his streak at about 5-something 2 years ago. And at the time, Matt Olson had the longest streak in Major League Baseball at 200 and some change. Well, since then, he's played about 190 or 200 and some odd games in a row. So I don't know that you take Matt Olson out. Hell, I don't need Marcell Ozuna. I know he's had some work at first base. I don't need him playing first base.
No.
Could you? Yes, maybe. But this offense is clicking so well. If guys are healthy and they want to stay out there, stay out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like the fact that, you have him as an option, but like if those guys want to play and they're doing well, now if they were struggling a little bit, okay, hey, sit you down, give you a little time off. But, that's not the case. Like we just talked about Matt Olson, how he's just been absolutely killing it. 25 home runs and 62 RBI since June 15th.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, man. No, I don't want to mess with that.
They are about 50 runs short, or they're on pace to be 50 runs short of scoring 1,000 runs for the season. I mean, you're talking about an offense that's averaging in the month of August almost 7.9 runs per game. Pitching hasn't been great. Guess what? It doesn't have to be. I looked at last night. Max Fried didn't have his best, but it was enough. He got you through 6. And all of a sudden you look up and Yankees fans are going, all right, we'll just go back to the Bronx. Which, by the way, how annoying are they showing up in Atlanta? Just Timberland boots, oversized Derek Jeter jersey. Oh, my God, I want my pizza. Whatever. Go back home.
I don't even say their name. That's the other team in New York. Yeah, I like the Braves stomping their behind last night. So, yeah, I don't even mention them on this program, John. I appreciate that.
Jarvis, I got to ask you, who's more annoying? The team that wears the blue hat with the white NY, the team that wears the blue hat with the orange NY, or the Knicks fans that'll show up at State Farm Arena and try to act like Trae Young hadn't given them the business every corner he's caught them on?
Absolutely, hands down, has to be the Knicks fans. They are so annoying, and like y'all haven't won anything. What's this, Willis Reed? What are we talking about here?
Like, when they won something,
right? Exactly. Nobody was born that are Knicks fans now. That when they won something. So yeah, the Knicks fans, hand down. I would say their name because I like making fun of Knicks fans, like because like they're so like New York, but they ain't done jack.
The fact that other team, they chant blank Trae Young when they're not even playing the Hawks. Like they've got a Tuesday night game against Brooklyn. It's blank Trae Young. Like Trae's not even here. What are you doing to our poor guy? Like,
talk about rent free.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. Coming up next, though, gotta talk about Desmond Ridder. What are those expectations? He's supposed to play on Friday night against the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk about that next. But first, gotta let you know that this episode of ATL Day Ones is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Football season is about to kick off, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to win all season long. Yes, they're giving you this huge opportunity. I need you to take advantage of it right now, because when you bet on the Super Bowl winner, you can get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. Just pick any team to win the Super Bowl, and you'll get bonus bets for every victory. So, hey, if you're rocking with the Falcons this year, if that's your team, or if you're rocking with the San Francisco 49ers, I need you to go and bet on them to win the Super Bowl, and you're going to get bonus bets every time they win in the regular season. You can use your bonus bets on spreads, player props, over-unders, all that, and much, much more. And you don't have to worry about anybody getting your information because the app is super safe, secure, and super easy to use. You don't have to worry about it. So here's what I need you to do. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start earning bonus bets with America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel.com/lockedon, because it is the official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL. It is ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tanitra. Tanitra is not here, not longer here. I'm not saying that. John Michaels is here, filling in for her today. While you watching online and listening on wherever you download your podcast, we appreciate you guys. Go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Really appreciate that from you in advance. Now, the Atlanta Falcons are set to take on the Cincinnati Bengals, John, this Friday. And we know that all the expectations coming into this season, what that looks like for the Atlanta Falcons, because we know that Arthur Smith has surrounded him with so many weapons. Talking about Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Jonnu Smith, even Bijan Robinson, obviously taking a running back in the top 10. We haven't seen that since Saquon Barkley. So they went out of their way to make sure that they're going to have enough weapons around Desmond Ridder to be able to be successful. So my question to you is, what are some realistic expectations for Desmond Ridder as they going into the season?
The yardage part becomes hard because Arthur Smith has shown, even when he was in Tennessee and Ryan Tannehill had a couple of good years, they're going to run the ball. And when you have Tyler Algier, Cordero Patterson, obviously Bijan Robinson, you're going to run it first, second, and probably third. So I don't know where the yardage would be for Desmond Ridder. I'd love to see 3,200, 3,300, somewhere in there, which isn't a lot. I know last year they only averaged about 190 yards a game passing the ball, which in today's day and age of the NFL doesn't win you a whole lot. So get north of 200, whatever that means. I guess that would put you around 3,500 yards if you wanted to get north of 200 per game. I want to see 2-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I'd probably like to see better than that, but just say I get 24 touchdowns and 12 picks. I'd feel pretty good in year one as Desmond Ridder being a starter. If that's the numbers you get, then chip in a couple hundred yards on the ground and maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily, really focusing on the yardage, because here's the thing. Like, if you can keep those turnovers down, don't hold on to the football, make sure you don't fumble that bad boy, and then if you can get single-digit interceptions, I know that might be asking a lot, but I think that was the Falcons' big issue last year with Marcus Mariota. This guy, I actually said his name for the first time. I don't say his name either more. I used to say one. It's just one just couldn't hold on to the football, and he just couldn't find a way to connect with Kyle Pitts, because I feel like that was the other issue, right? Like, turn the ball over and then figuring out a way to get the rock to Kyle Pitts, because it just didn't work last year. And I think that we saw what he can do with Drake London in just those 4 games. Like, they had a really good connection going on. So I think that if he can establish himself with Kyle Pitts, along with, continuing that relationship that he has with, or connection that he has with Drake London, I feel like then he'll be cooking with some grease.
Yeah, and then you also remember, and he didn't have Cordero, or he had Cordero, but he didn't have Bijan last year. Kyle Pitts wasn't healthy. Obviously, you just talked about that. Jonnu Smith becomes another weapon that we kind of forget about. And Mac Hollins. Mac is built like he had missed a day. Right? He hadn't missed a day in the weight room. I mean, he doesn't wear any shoes, but he hadn't missed a day in the weight room, because that dude's getting it in. And I think stuff like that is going to help. We all wondered when Terry Fontenot took over what the philosophy was going to be building the team. And we know how hamstrung he was with salary cap issues and everything else. But they decided, you know what? We are going to double and triple down on the offensive side of the ball. 3 straight years you've taken skill guys at the top of the draft. Desmond, obviously being a 3rd-round pick, is there. The offensive line is pretty set, save left guard, which we're still going to figure out in the next couple of weeks. For Desmond, it's really just don't screw it up. And I know that's easier said than done in the NFL, but when we were at practice, you saw the guy can make throws. He made some tight window throws in some of the red zone drills, and I think that's going to help this team tremendously as they move into 2023.
And that's the thing that I like about Ridder as well, because, I wasn't that high on him coming out. I was up here pounding the table for Malik Willis, and, see how that turned out. But I think that the one thing that I really like about him is the fact that dude is not scared to put it in there. And we know that, one, he was scared to put it in there, and if he tried to put it in there, he was going to overthrow the dude by 4 to 5 inches, because I'm like, dude, you got 6'4" to 6'5" wide receivers. Why are you overthrowing them dudes by so much? Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, get into the vicinity, give him a chance, give him an opportunity. So I think that's the one thing that I really like about Ridder, as far as like, hey, the guy, he's not afraid to stick it in there. And I think if you look at what Arthur Smith is trying to do, and, with running the football and establishing in that, and then you talking about that play action game, I think that's where he's going to make his money. He's going to be able to make his money in those shot plays. If they can get somewhere in the middle of the league or the top half of the league, as far as 20-plus yard games, chunk plays, I feel like that'll be something that will be a huge accomplishment for the Falcons, because we know that they have the weapons to be able to make those plays. And then once they get down into the red zone, then they have to be able to capitalize.
And you think about last year, the chances that you could have had making chunk plays and some of the philosophy that Arthur Smith obviously didn't trust his quarterback to make plays. The Tampa game, the one that had the horrible Grady Jarrett roughing the passer late that cost us a chance.
Oh, gosh.
They went on a 14-play drive. They were down either 14 or 21 points, and they went on a 14-play drive. They didn't throw the ball not one damn time. Now you have a guy that you can somewhat trust, and you obviously have said, look, I'm putting my eggs in the number 9 basket. Desmond Ridder's got to be the guy. But with their ability to run the ball, and Jarvis, you played football more than I did, you know if you can run the ball, that play action pass, those safeties start coming up. You have to put 8 in the box, and now you get a Drake London, a Kyle Pitts, a Mac Hollins, Scotty Miller in the middle of the field, maybe a Bijan on a wheel route out of the backfield, and you get matchups where you can take plays. And that's where they need to add. The offense is good running the football, but you start adding some explosives, oh my goodness, the sky's the limit for the Falcons.
Yeah, man. Like, as the more and more we talk about it, the more and more I start thinking to myself, I was like, how's this dude going to spread all of this around?
Right.
Which brings me to my next question. Like, are there going to be some guys just going to be left out on Sundays?
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's going to be Sundays that Cordero gets 5 touches, and you're going to go, what happened to him? There's going to be Sundays that Tyler Algier only carries the rock 7-8 times. There's going to be times Bijan only probably gets 8 to 10 touches throughout the game, or that Kyle Pitts, and I had a comment. I said, I need Kyle Pitts to have 10 targets. And then I realized that's ridiculous because I think Travis Kelce for tight ends might have had about 130 targets a year ago, which is only about 8 or 9 per game. And you're playing with the best quarterback in the world. So 10 might be aggressive. But I need about 6 or 7 every game for Kyle Pitts, and I don't care how it happens.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, and that's what you look like. I think there's going to be some priorities, right? Yeah, the guy who's the highest drafted tight end in NFL history. Yeah, you should give him the rock. You know what I'm saying? You should find a way to get it to him. So, and I think that's going to be the beauty of going up against this offense on each Sundays at 1:00 is the fact that these teams are going to have to really do their homework, man. You're talking about from a game planning standpoint because not only are you going to have to game plan for Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson, guy you can line up anywhere on the field. Right. And the younger, probably more talented version of that in Bijan Robinson, you add him to the equation. Then you got these treetops on the outside and Drake London and Mac Hollins. So it's a lot of moving parts, man. I'm very interested to see how Arthur Smith plays his bad boy out because I think this is going to be something that if Desmond Ridder, going back to Desmond Ridder, it always falls back to 9. If he actually does what he's supposed to do, he doesn't have to exceed expectations. Right. If he just gets the ball into the hands of his playmakers, this has a chance to be one of the top offenses in the league, I believe.
Well, you talk about spreading it around. I go back to the Super Bowl year, and you were doing pregame show at that time, I believe, and working on the postgame and everything else. I was on the sidelines. Think about spreading the ball around that year. Matt Ryan threw the ball 13 different receivers caught touchdown passes. Yep. You had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman in the backfield. Austin Hooper and Jacob Tamme before he got hurt at tight end, and Levine Toilolo. Mohamed Sanu, Taylor Gabriel. Can't forget Julio Jones, obviously.
Absolutely.
Aldrick Robinson. They had dudes that were going to get the ball. But on Sunday, Kyle Shanahan found a way to keep everybody happy. And again, Matt Ryan had an MVP year that year, and I'm not saying Desmond Ridder will do that, but there's similarities to the way, and I was watching Friday night when they played the Dolphins, similarities to the scheme from Kyle Shanahan to Arthur Smith, the outside zone, the bootlegs, finding like the deep over routes, stuff to take chunk plays. Those are going to be there. And to your point, it does go back to number 9. He's got to come up with some big plays this year.
Absolutely. 9 is going to be I could say it's going to be probably a lot of pressure on him, but for him and kind of interacting with him, I feel like he doesn't even really see it. He doesn't even know what the level of that he's going to be faced with. So I think that's a good thing though, because like you said, he has the confidence of the general manager and Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith as well. So those guys have more than outwardly and just from the way they've built this team said that, hey, we believe in you. All you got to do is just go out there and go do what you need to do.
And there's something about being a winner. And Desmond Ridder was that in college. He was a 3-star recruit coming out, not overly highly recruited, won the job as a freshman at Cincinnati and was a starter for 4 years. He brought Cincinnati to a college football playoff. So the guy knows how to run. Now,
Right.
Alabama kicked their butt. And look how he did against Alabama. Guess what? Look how anybody did against Alabama that year. Alabama had one of the elite defenses of all time. But the guy knows how to win football games. It's not like he was playing with 10 5-stars at Cincinnati. He was playing with other 3-stars, and he knew how to win football games. And I think hopefully that translates into the NFL where he can go out and win some ball games.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that if he, like you said, the guys that are surrounding him right now, they're way more than 3 stars. Let me tell you that much. That talent level is a lot better than what it was at Cincy. So I'm sure he's starting to feel that already as he goes into his first full season as the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. And we appreciate you guys for rocking with us and making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. Why don't you go ahead and drop a comment in the comment box? For all our everydayers, just say, hey, I'm an everydayer. Hey, Jarvis and Tanisha, I love y'all. Hey, Jarvis, when is Tanisha coming back? She'll be back, I promise you. But, my main man, John Michaels, is holding it down today. But, John, this is, for the culture, is the intersection between sports, entertainment, the culture, and sometimes whatever the hell we want to talk about, because that's just how we get down on this show. Today is no different. Like, when you think about, like, certain type of players, the first thing that comes to mind when I hear the name James Harden, excellent scorer, all that stuff. But, like, what has he been known for? Like, he's been known for, the strip clubs, kicking it with Trina in the finals, you know what I'm saying? Which I don't blame him at all. And I'm sure you're a Miami native. I'm sure you don't blame him either. But it just seems like this dude has been his name has been synonymous with, like, just drama, man. Like, he just recently came out and called out Daryl Morey, the guy who's been an advocate for him, like, to be on teams wherever he goes. And he's called the man a liar. Like, what is going on here in Philadelphia, man? And how do you feel like this thing is going to end?
One, James Harden, unbelievable talent. I think you laid out everything. One of the great scorers in the history of the NBA. Also one of the most notorious chokers in the playoffs. He comes up very small.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
To me, when I first think of James Harden, it's a notoriously bad teammate. He quit on Houston. He forced his way out of Houston. Yeah. And some would say he fatted his way out, whatever. He wasn't in shape, wasn't doing whatever he wanted to do. Now in Philadelphia, he's there where he basically, this is where I want to be. I want to win. And didn't he get his way out of Brooklyn too?
Brooklyn, yeah. Everybody got their way out of Brooklyn.
I don't blame him. That went sideways in a hurry.
I don't blame him.
Philly, I want to be with Joel Embiid. We're going to do this. We're going to win. We're going to do it. And all of a sudden you get to the offseason, and 3 months ago you wanted out. Now you haven't gotten your way and you haven't got out. So now you're trying to figure out a way to get your way out. And you call the team president / general manager Daryl Morey a liar. Now, Jarvis, I keep it real. You've known me a long time. Do I think there's part of it that Daryl Morey might be a liar? Sure.
Absolutely. Yes.
I think every general manager and team president. I don't trust any of them dudes. They do whatever.
None of them.
But what I do know is James Harden's not a guy I ever want to build my franchise around, especially at the stage of his career.
Yes. I think that's an unfortunate part because, like you said, the talent is definitely there. You understand, like, this dude is probably one of the best scorers of this era. You know, and I'm not just, that's not hyperbole. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people will agree with me who probably know a lot more about basketball than I do. So it's just crazy that, how we look at him and view him because of your own actions, right? Like, you coming out here calling the president of the team a liar and all that stuff, man. Handle all that stuff behind the scenes. Be like LeBron. Like, just have it be a source report type situation. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, you can't deny that at any point. Like, from here going forward, like, you called your boss essentially a liar.
Can you imagine doing that?
Never a good look, man.
Yeah, can you imagine doing that in a regular job, whatever? And we both work. We got great jobs, but we got regular. Can you imagine walking in and telling your boss openly he's a liar on video in front of a crowd? Guess what? You'd be unemployed. We wouldn't have jobs tomorrow.
Come on, man. Like, it's amazing the amount of power that NBA players have now. I love it because, like, I'm all about player empowerment. I'll always be on the player side. I always look at people weirdly when they side with the team in a lot of these situations when it comes to money, all that stuff. But, like, yeah, man, like it's just a weird situation, man. Real quick before we get out here, though, I'm sure you're familiar with the whole Keke Palmer Usher situation, right?
Oh, of
like
course.
what all went down.
Of course.
So apparently, like I don't know whose idea it was. It probably was Usher's.
Mm-hmm.
But the man got a song getting ready to drop, Jay, called Boyfriend.
Oh, no.
Guess who he got in the video? Keke Palmer.
Oh, no.
And then it got like one little drop in the little, it's like a 7-second snippet. He said, somebody boyfriend looking for me?
Oh,
dude, come on, Jay.
Look,
like,
let's be real. Usher is, there are certain people I wouldn't let my wife around. Usher's one of them.
Yeah, I'm with John on that one. The fact that Usher is out here kicking it with the mother of your child, like, man, you might well give it up, dog. It is over for you. It's not over for all the people that rock with ATL Day Ones and Locked On Sports Atlanta. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys for rocking with us Monday through Friday and downloading us wherever you download your podcast. And we're free and available on YouTube as well. If you guys don't do anything else with your lives, make sure that you share love, show love, and most importantly, spread love.